The fifth key to early literacy, and we're on the last key here, is diet. Diet runs the show. We have to make sure our children are being fed the right foods that helps them learn. So if you are feeding your children food with a lot of dyes and additives, that can lead to their inattentiveness in the classroom, which is going to directly affect their learning. If they're going to school with a sugary breakfast like Pop-Tarts or most cereals, they're going to have a sugar spike. And by the end of first period into second period, they're going to nosedive into sleepiness, and inattentiveness. If they eat lunch at school and they don't have a proper lunch, it's going to spike their blood sugar. And then one or two periods after that, it's going to nosedive into inattentiveness and the inability to learn. Now, sometimes I look at what my students choose from the lunch menu, and sometimes I just have to shake my head because I can't tell them what to eat, but as parents, you can. And I have students that they'll get a slice of pizza, they'll have a handful of fries, and they'll have like an icy drink or juice. All of those things together, that combination, no fruit, no vegetables, that combination is going to spike their blood sugar. And then an hour or two later, they're going to crash. So a lot of students are not attentive or can't focus because of their diet, just from what they're putting in their bodies. We have to make sure what they're putting in their bodies are also age appropriate. A lot of students, they drink coffee. I've seen a 10-year-old drinking a 16-ounce cup of iced coffee. Now, we know that a regular cup of coffee can stay in an adult's body for about 12 hours. So think about how long it's going to take for that child to burn through that 16-ounce cup of iced coffee. This is what leads to a lot of children being unable to sleep at night or not getting appropriate rest. Because when that caffeine is in your system, your eyes might be closed, but your brain is still active. It's still going. It's not getting that deep REM sleep that you need in order to download the information you've learned before into your long-term memory. So if it's not downloaded into your long-term memory, what happens? It goes away. And sleep is definitely, as we talked about, important in retaining information. And diet can interrupt sleep. So we want to make sure the diet is good. I remember I saw a young man walk into the bus stop a couple years ago, and he was drinking a Gatorade. Now, we know Gatorade is filled with dyes and additives. There is no questions about that. It's on the label. You can see red number 40, blue number 10, whatever. It's on the label. So we know that it's already not good. But sports drink was originally created for athletes. Athletes who, they run a lot, they have a lot of practice time. So they're practicing for 2, 3 hours at a time, and they're sweating out the salt in their bodies. And we need a certain amount of salt in order to function. So they made sports drink with salt added in there so that the athletes can drink it and replenish the salt that they lost during practice. Now, I've seen children drinking Gatorade that did not lift a finger. They didn't run anywhere. They didn't burn any energy. They didn't sweat one thing of salt out their bodies, but they're drinking Gatorade. So they're putting salt into their bodies that their bodies do not need. So we have to be very careful about what we're drinking, what we're eating, and why, and what effects it will have on your body. Just because an athlete is drinking it or an athlete is eating it or advertising it doesn't mean that it's appropriate for your children. And that brings me to, well, should I say it brings me to those Takis that have all those different dyes and colors. They are not good for children. So let's be careful about that. All right. So we just tackled the 5 keys to early literacy. Words, getting the right amount of words into our children's brain, 21,000 per day. Books, reading, getting a reading routine. Having your child see you read also is important. So, setting up reading time for the entire family so that you can build a love of reading in your child. We talked about play, specifically computer-free play, so that your child can develop their creativity and use their creativity instead of just consuming information. And we talked about sleep. It's very important for your child to get the right amount of sleep so that they can retain what they have learned that day. And we talked about diet, and we know that diet runs the show. What children eat is very important to their longevity. It's important to their ability to focus in the classroom, and it's important to their life.